Welcome to the Menopause Queen podcast. This is episode number 3. And at the time of recording this, it is September 2025. And I am fast approaching, my favorite time of the year for a start, which is the autumn. I was born in October and I just love this time of year. But it's also towards the end of 2025. And although I don't know much about numerology, 2025 is a 9-year. And a 9-year means that we are ending cycles. We are stopping certain pathways, ways of being, things that we have traditionally done or been, we're stopping them. Because 2026 is a 1-year. If you add the numbers together, 2025 makes 9, 2026 makes 10. So we're taking it as a 1-year. And 1 is a year of beginnings. So everything that you kind of put in place right now, no pressure, everything you put in place right now towards the end of 2025, and believe me, you have probably been doing some of this already, is paving the way for 2026, which is a huge year, especially if you, and I don't want to be a bit too woo-woo, but especially if you are ever so slightly connected energetically to what is going on. It's a massive year next year. And if you do some of the work now, next year will be a breeze, let me tell you. As women, particularly, I think, women in their middle age, we've got baggage with us. We've got containers worth of emotional guilt tripping and experience and life stuff. We're also often still big time householders, managing children, families, sometimes aging parents. And that is a lot. It is a lot to cope with. And we find it hard, therefore, to shut some doors and leave some things behind. Because what if? What if we need it? What will people think if we stop this, etc., etc. But the time of our life in the mid-years, when we are approaching the menopause, when we're in the menopause, and certainly after the menopause, is the ideal time to shed the skins of the people that you no longer want to be. It is the time to do that massive triage of everything and close some doors, destroy some things, leave some things behind, take a huge load of stuff to the déchetterie, literally to the dump, to the rubbish bin, give them away, do something with the things that don't belong to you anymore. And that's really what I wanted to focus on in this particular episode. I will be coming on to grief, and I will be coming on to the leaving behind parts of us that we quite enjoyed, but we can't really do anymore. But in this episode, I really just want to invite you to take a few moments to feel what has been going on recently. Now, if you're listening to this outside of 2025, it doesn't actually matter. Think back to 2025. Think back to a crucial period in your life when things started to shift and evolve, when you felt things and maybe didn't always act on them. Now, that little intuitive voice, that little inner cogwheel that goes around that we don't always want to listen to, right? Because change often hurts, Change isn't meant to be always comfortable whilst you're going through it. But afterwards, wow. I remember when I was getting divorced. In fact, I wasn't even at the divorce stage. I was at the talking to my now ex-husband and working out what on earth we were going to be doing. And getting pretty much nowhere because I was married to someone who's very nice, but doesn't really talk, doesn't really like conflict, doesn't really understand intuition. He doesn't really get that whole thing. And so it was incredibly difficult to have any kind of enthusiastic conversation with him about our future. And I was tormented inside. I did not know how to deal with things. My tummy was in knots. I couldn't advance. I couldn't evolve because I couldn't properly leave that behind, because I knew I was going to create so much change and disruption for my 2 young children, for myself, for the lifestyle that I actually really enjoyed, but I was with the wrong person doing it. And I remember talking to my yoga teacher at the time, Shiva Ray, and she said, Charlotte, there comes a time where you just have to walk through the fire. And it really struck a chord. The visual of actually walking across fire and through fire. But then you get to the other side and there's no fire. And sometimes it might be a little dark, but there is an opening, there is a newness, there's a possibility that's there for you. And I got it. I just got it. So when I went home after this particular conversation and trip, I put things in place. I put my big girl pants on and had that conversation I did not want to have. And yes, it started off a whole ball rolling of fire, but it was so for the better. And it didn't happen necessarily overnight, but I'm asking you to just consider at this moment in your life, what is making you contract? When you think about it, could be in your business relationships, in your business. It could be in your personal relationships. It could be in your own body, what you're doing to yourself, with yourself. It could be in your energetic or spiritual life, if that's the route that you have also chosen. But on the whole, what I'm asking you to think about is when you think about that thing, when you bring it to your mind, what is contracting? Where is contracting in you? If it is. And if it's not, and if it really feels like all your ducks are all in a row and there are no secret pigeons in the back row there, then fantastic. Keep doing that. But if there's something in your life that is niggling, and in fact, the row of ducks isn't a row of ducks at all, there's a blackbird, a robin, and definitely several pigeons in there, then you need to do something about it, right? And yes, there might be the fire to walk through. But I'm inviting you at this period, at this autumn and winter period of your life, to take some stock, to take a step back, to take a deep breath in and go, right, what am I leaving behind? What am I closing? You might have been feeling during the menopause period, but particularly at this time of year, a kind of, inner voice, inner message that you haven't particularly understood. I'm here to tell you that cosmically, astrologically, numerologically, there's a lot going on at the moment. And in fact, there's a big, feminine rising that's coming up. We're changing era. If you look into the history of this, we've just come out of one massive sort of male, huge era. And we're moving into a Virgo style era, which is very feminine, which is very community based, which is this sort of matriarchal rising. We may not see all the results of that in our lifetime. But by God, we're going to be there for some of the foundational shifts and changes of it. And you, because you are part of the feminine collective, are feeling that too. So it isn't just on your individual level, with your individual ducks in a row. You are also feeling the collective feminine coming together. And sort of like these flowers, they're coming from inside and blooming outwards and shining outwards. But there's going to be some fire and some trouble on the way, right? And you're going to feel the churnings of that and the vomiting up of some of the crap that we have put up with and some of the stuff that we will no longer put up with. Now, that's quite heavy, big stuff, right? plus the fact the end of the year always has loads of eclipses, it has the equinox, it has the winter solstice in it, it has some super powerful full moons in it as well. And it's a weighted period. It's the time where there's a shift, a huge shift from the summer to autumn. It's an incredibly visual shift. When you go from spring to summer, not so visual, right? But I can do a parallel with us and our bodies, right? When you shift from, let's say, your 20s to your 30s, okay, there's some shifts, there's some stuff that goes on. You might get married, have kids, etc. And yeah, there is some shifting, but it isn't massively visible, right? When you start to go into your 40s, a little bit more. Early 40s, not so much. When you reach the latter 40s and your 50s, I think you'll be in agreement with me here. There's a bit of a shift going on. I look back at some of the videos, and I've been online and doing things like this for a very long time. I was on the television for a while as well. And believe me, I see the differences. I look at my face, I look at my skin, oh my God, I look so young. The difference between the late 40s and the 50s starts to be like that summer to autumn shift. Things literally start to fall off, right? So you're shifting from one massive season of spring, summer into the autumn part of your year. So really, this time of year is super symbolic for us if we're going through the menopause. And then the autumn shifts into the winter. And I love the word wintering. Wintering for me implies soups indoors, fireside, blankets around the body, reading books, cocooning, going inwards, introspection. And I know for a fact that that's like flashing alert symbols at me at the moment. I know that this winter is going to be an introspective winter for me. I can feel it. But right now, in the shift of late summer to autumn, it's very much I'm leaving this behind and I'm creating this so that I can manifest it in 2026 post my wintering time. And I'm fortunate that I live in a part of the world, I live in the mountains, so the winter for us is a winter. It's a full-on snow, cold, like proper season. I've kind of dead time but beautiful time, silent times when the snows fall, super silent times, completely different environment to the late summer and to the autumn. But the autumn is beautiful and I look forward to it each year. And it's a super, super symbolic time where you physically see the leaves falling off the trees. So now is definitely the time to do your kind of, in French we'd say a bilan, which basically means a resume, a recap, an analysis of what is right and what is wrong in your life. I mean, you can literally write this down. What do I want? What do I don't want? What is contracting in my body? What is making me expand and be joyful? It's creating that vision and then looking back at what is currently in your life, stopping that vision happening. And that can be on all sorts of levels. It could be your physical health, your physical strength. It could be to do with your business that you're in at the moment, or the job that you're in. Maybe you want to start a business. Maybe you've been sitting there for years going, oh, I'd love to be my own boss. I'd love to just have every Monday off because I feel like it and do something for me, knowing that the rest of the time I can just be flexible and it'll be my thing. Or you've got a passion about something and you really want to go down that route. Do it now. Do the shift now at this latter part of 2025 as you enter into the perimenopause, the menopause zone, the sort of evolution and transformation cupboard, a bit like, for those who've watched Doctor Who, a bit like the TARDIS. You're kind of going into it. It's massive in terms of the opportunities inside. Which corridor do you take to run away from Daleks, to come out and go, ooh, now this is the land that I wanted. Now is the time. I'm really inviting you to discover the endless possibilities that you can create and that we can co-create. Thank you for listening to my ramblings on the Menopause Queen podcast. Now, on the YouTube channel, you can find lots of different videos. There are some very practical yoga practices, meditation practices. There are some other videos where I give you some tips and some hints, and there is so much more to come. I've also just created a community hub on School, which is a fantastic platform, SKOOL, super simple to use. And on there, I am creating a community hub for women like you and me who want to get together, who want to have quite a lot of the practices that are on the YouTube channel, but you'll get extras. You'll get invitations to live gatherings. You will be able to exchange with one another. I will invite you to join the private Facebook group so that we can also intimately exchange in there. So join us, join this kind of Menopause Queen revolution and make a stand. Stand in your beautiful queen energy. I dare you.